G'day everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of this little mini-series where we are going to be remaking the Superman Escape and the Flash Speed Force. I'll have timestamps below of everything that's going to happen. First up, we'll be looking underneath the hood of all the buildings. I'll be doing a cool full breakdown of Superman Escape. Haven't really looked at it since I built it, so it's going to be cool to go over it with you guys. And then later on we demolish, and then I'll go over everything that we're going to be doing in this whole build. So sit back and relax, and yeah, let's get started. So I thought it'd be pretty cool to explore why the roof is off and show you like pretty much the breakdown of what I went through when designing this. So obviously starting off at the station area, it's its own little square box separate from everything. You might notice how it's quite high up. As I explained in the previous video of talking about it, you can't do an angled piece for the launch. So whatever height your launch is the height that the rest of the building has to be. That's why we have this awkward entrance way, and it's not anything like the real park, which is sad. Like it'd probably be about half of that, maybe even less than that in the real park. But in order to get it to, if I come back out here, to go over the actual walkway that you walk under, it obviously had to be a little bit higher. So I think I've got it set at about 6 meters high, which is probably about where it would be in real life, but then you got to remember that this would angle down for the launch, and then it would probably launch from about maybe 2-3 meters off the ground. I'm not sure if that's specific, but that's just a problem I had when I was designing it. So it's cool to see with the roof off that breakdown. But I'll just quickly take these pieces off to show the rest of the station. So this part here normally has the second station piece. Obviously, if you're watching this, you've already been on the real ride, so you know that how things are set up in this. You get on, you obviously turn the corner. This normally has a S, sort of like a curve bend in it to try and distract you from being able to see stuff. I couldn't do that in my build because this was still me learning how to play the game. So this has been untouched since I first created it. I haven't updated this, I haven't played around. The only thing I updated was when we got the Zenith coaster, which more resembled the Superman Escape coaster that's there now. The other one was just an ordinary launch coaster. But as you can see, come around, you'd have your triggers inside here of the gas that sprays in guest's face. If you haven't seen the P.O.V, so the front seat view of this, and you're a bit confused about some things that I explained, I would recommend go watching that and then coming back to this, because this is kind of like the magician revealing its secrets behind everything. So this was my interpretation of the subway station. As you can see, very, very basic in my design choices for this. It was interesting to try and create something that looked like a subway station, but as I keep saying to you, this was my first build in Planet Coaster. I was so inexperienced and had no idea what I was doing. This was pretty much just me clicking and playing and having fun. And for anyone that's ridden Superman Escape, it's probably one of the best roller coasters in Australia. At the time when it first came out, it was insane to feel that. I still rank it higher than DC Rivals. I know some people will have theirs higher, but to me, it was more just everything coming together. The story, everything, it was just unique to me. So through this door, we have the maintenance room. Very basic. You got to remember that this, so I had all of this, the coaster, all of the signage, all of these poles are custom, so I had to get it underneath 4,000 pieces. So it's kind of strange to go in and see that I wasted so many pieces on the actual framing of the building itself. I could have done a lot more, but yes, it's the inexperience of the build, unfortunately, but it is what it is. This is the flooding scene. We have all of the, well, we get very glitchy for some reason. Pretty much just a fake stair setup, but it's more of just a fake sort of look. So when guests come around, they'll never be able to see up past anything past here to say. So you just have the water flowing. It ends up pouring down. I think I can start it if I get the sequencer, unpause it, and then it's literally just water pouring down and into the grate, which is really simple. Pretty much just following each other, all the sequences there, all of the water filters there, and then yeah, it's a basic effect that works really well because you're pretty much coming past here, not fast, but like fast enough that you don't get to notice it. So as you can see, like the really cool part is that everything overlaps. So it comes around here, flips here, and you might come this part but not know that the other wall's on the other side. Same as your launch, it's not hidden that whole track piece goes right above your track. You'll see it when we get around the corner, but I just love being able to take the roof off and see stuff like this. Like you have the emergency exit here where the launch hill's just over here. Obviously you've got the tunnel collapse that's happening, telling police cars not to come down. I obviously went a little bit extreme on that. We didn't have cars back then, so I had to improvise with some of my own sort of designs, and as you can see, I've always kept them in because it's always made me laugh at, like, you gotta remember where you came from in some of these builds. And this was my best tunnel collapse of just crushed rubble. I shouldn't really talk any crap because obviously we're remixing this ride now, so I don't want to set the bar too high that it's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be amazing if I can pull it off right, but time will tell on how we see it. So obviously going into the launch, this would be normally at an angle, so you got to remember, if I come back here, we're sitting about here and looking straight out flat, whereas if we come underground, you can see how high we are. The real ride would probably sit about here and aim at that hole that's back up here, and that's how it would launch out and then go up the hill. But obviously we can't do that. We've had to try and find a workaround, and sadly we couldn't. So it sucks that it comes down like this, but yeah, it's really cool. I always recommend, like, if you're downloading someone's park, say like even this park, take the roof off of some of these pieces and look down at it, because this is the best part you will see, creativity of how people build rides, not just in this game, because you got to remember that this is how the real Superman Escape is built. Obviously not to this specifications, but it's pretty much built how it's all fake. And you literally believe that you're in a subway trying to escape and Superman has to save you. And that's the coolest part about these rides. I've always loved doing that. Same as my... oh, look, awesome. See, this is not smart. What's his face? Smart what's his face. Not smart what's his face. Smart what's his face. Where I could literally just take the roof off and see. So you'll see with my Justice League ride how you can stand over here and see that the track takes off here, loops back, comes back, goes up here, loops here, loops here, loops here, comes under here, goes around here. But you got to remember that in this part, oops, we're saving, everyone panic. You're in Gotham in this area, but then literally on the other side of the wall, you're in Metropolis. And obviously Supergirl trying to save you from the wall collapsing on you. But yeah, it's always awesome to be able to see stuff like that about how it all works together. So as I always say, take the roof off of people's rides, see how they're built, even look up real rides about how they're built and see how things come together. Let's see if I did the same here. Okay, did I do the same with the roof? Okay, cool. Look at this, future planning. So it's really cool to come in and be able to see stuff like this. Like the Scooby-Doo coaster obviously comes up, real basic layout, comes around, goes around, and then takes off into the main area. But that's just a quick little sneak peek inside of it all. As I said, it's I kind of wanted to do this before I delete everything. That's what we're going to be doing for the second half of this video. So yeah, let's get back to destroying some beautiful creations. So now let's just jump straight back into the demo part. So if you've seen the short that I put up, I might put it up at the end of the video if you don't check YouTube Shorts or TikTok. I pretty much set 3 rules for this challenge for myself. Was number 1 is existing tracks, existing buildings, any main structure parts that you see, like the actual shed itself that it's inside of, and the Superman Escape tracks, the Flash Speed Force tracks, and like anything that's around there. I've pretty much made that I can't touch that. Now, you can make small adjustments. I've made some small adjustments, mainly just for ride smoothness. It's probably one of the biggest feedback I get from people is how rough the ride is when people are going around it, because I'm pretty sure there's like a rule of thumb when building roller coasters of a 3 meter piece. But obviously, me building this when I first built it, had literally no idea how to build roller coasters. So it was just slam together and hope for the best, really. So rule number 2 is to try to keep costs down and be cost effective with using bits around the park. So you'll see later on when I explain it all, of using pieces from the the DC Supervillains Unleashed area, obviously hinting heavily at taking the Doomsday, which is now down, and reusing that, because I think that'd be a really cool asset to use in here. So more on that later. But the third rule is pretty much, I approached it as if, same as I did with all my other rides, of if Movie World had come to me and said, look, we'd love, maybe not for you to, like, here's the money, go design the ride. But it's like, look, we'd love to see what you think we could do with this area. And it's pretty much me just jumping in the game, deleting everything and going, okay, this is what I think you can do with the littlest effect to what's already there. You could literally throw a lick of paint on this whole coaster and it would be cool. So that's pretty much my whole thought process of this whole build. It has been challenging to work out sort of what I wanted to add and what I didn't want to add. I was going to use a lot of video screens. I don't know if you've seen my Batman Escape from Gotham, but that heavily uses screens inside Planet Coaster. And I think it comes down to more of a time frame sort of thing, to where I feel like if I can, because I'm not being shy, but I have a lot more space than what Movie World does in this area. Like, a lot of these walls back right onto the side walls. So for me to be able to just create whatever I want to, you'll see in the next video, Movie World can't do that. So I wanted to kind of create it to where they could do it with video screens or in real life if they wanted to, but I wanted to create the blueprint of like what could be this whole ride's sort of DNA, like their new sort of ride that everyone can go on. So just take that in mind, and obviously take it in mind that I am a little bit in front of what you're seeing now, so you're probably a day or two behind me of where I'm at. So you got to think about maybe 5 hours of building a day in front of where you are. Probably less now that I'm editing videos and stuff like that. I think I'm spending more time editing videos than actually playing the game, which isn't fun. But the other thing I do is I dropped the coaster probably a meter, maybe 2-3 meters actually, just to try and get it lower, because obviously in the real park it's not as high. But obviously with the launch system, we can't have it angled like it is in the real park, because that launch part it's at a, I don't know what the degree angle is, but it launches at an angle so that when you come out at the other end of the building, you're pretty much just already halfway up the hill. So let's do a quick ride through of the ride before we do a full breakdown of what's going to happen, just because I think it's funny to show the whole empty shed. I pretty much off stream, I delete all the rest of that, the structure there, the beams and stuff I have going around, because I'll redo all that at the end. That's pretty much the consequences of as I mentioned, the 4,000 pieces. Obviously when I first built this, the whole idea was not to build a whole Movie World theme park. I was just building rides to build rides, and there was a 4,000 piece limit inside of Planet Coaster, and I really enjoyed getting them pieces down. And trust me, this has been an eye-opening experience of re-deleting everything and going, okay, I had like 12 pieces in like one beam of roof, and it's like, what was the point in doing all of that? Like, yeah, it's a bit silly now that you think about it, but it is what it is. So I'd love to know in the comments, before you see the end of this video and see my breakdown of what I plan to do, I'd love for you to either just pause the video now and type what you would do in the comments of like, what would you put in this section and have it all set up. Are we pretty much on the same mindset? It's going to be pretty cool to see what people think. It's going to be pretty cool to see if Movie World is the same with their little revamp that they're doing with this. This is why I kind of wanted to get this done and out of the way, because I can set the bar low and then Movie World can come in high. So that's pretty much where my brain is at this. But it's been a pretty hectic weekend. I don't know if you've seen my TikTok videos, but they're getting a lot of views. So there's a lot of attention on this channel. So I'm really trying to just stay calm and not freak out over how many people are now watching these videos, because it's quickly becoming more and more. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump into the full breakdown of what I plan to do. Obviously not showing you what it is, this is just what I plan to do. So this is the overview of the whole area we're going to be redoing. It's obviously Superman Escape on the right, the track twists all throughout the Flash Speed Force if you're not familiar with the ride, and we're pretty much going to be remaking that whole part. So let's just jump straight into Superman Escape, as this is pretty much phase 1 that we'll be completing first. The inside, then the outside later. So as the track stands now, that's pretty much it. The track's not going to change much other than a little bit more smoothness. Maybe tightening some corners and stuff like that to more match the real ride. But the initial tunnel sequence when you first take off will probably stay the same. There's not really much you can add there with the limited space due to the station being higher. I do need a little bit more space to try and work out how to get the station to fit in well, because obviously it's set at maybe 5 or 6 meters, sadly, with the launch having to be so high, so we've got to do it that way. But once you come around the first bend, we'll be moving into our little tunnel sequence that I want to do. Obviously this is where the station is, and that's where the lockers are shaking and stuff like that. My idea is to have multiple tracks laying next to each other. Now obviously Movie World would have to pull this off with a video wall with it being such a tight area, but for me I wanted to be able to really branch out and have like a whole like separate subway coming on, and something might be happening of, let's say a train flies past like really fast, and you'd feel the wind and maybe the train's on fire, and then as a really cool thing which I think would be awesome would be maybe like either a blue flash, or even you see Superman himself going after that train first to catch them. And we're still following the same theme of, obviously I don't want to spoil what's happening outside, but let's just say you are on this subway trying to escape the city because of what's happening on the outside. So obviously Superman still comes and rescues you, and it's not as a safe journey as what they thought it would be for you escaping, but pretty much we follow that same part of what's going on if you want the real breakdown of the ride. Then the second part that I want to come around, obviously you have the stairs flooding. Now I think it's a really cool scene with the stairs flooding, so I would love to keep that, maybe exaggerate it a little bit more. But what I would really love to add is something like this on the other side. Now that is a little area, I'm not sure what's behind there in the real park, but for me I have this nice really big area that I'd love to pull something like this off of. Maybe the waters have eroded the ground and there's a huge sinkhole opening up, and you'd be able to have water effects, and the train would teeter and you'd feel like, oh, like this is all collapsing around us. And then obviously you would come back around the straight, hook in the left, and I really would love to be able to exaggerate on what's there already. Obviously now in the real park there's just the two cars that are collapsed. For me it was a truck and a police car, and it looked a bit more exaggerate with the sparks and the water and other things going on. So I would love to be able to keep that as it is, but just add a couple more things from the DC Supervillains Unleashed area that could really work in that area as it is. And then obviously the launch would work the same as Superman landing, saying I'll get you out of there, heads back, blah blah blah, and then choom, you would take off up the lift hill. And that's pretty much what I have planned for the inside. If you have sat around for this long in the video, that is pretty much the spoilers of what's going to be happening. So I'd love to know in the comments what you think of that sort of story. Just to recap, in case I'm just talking over myself over and over again, essentially something's going on outside, can't tell you what, don't want to spoil it just yet till we get up to it, but you're pretty much told to evacuate to the MRT, which is the transport system. Same setup as before. So as I said, like Movie World, you don't want to have to add too much in that aspect of changing cars and changing lighting and signage and stuff like that. Same story concept, you're escaping, they're trying to get you out of the city, but the more stuff that's happening on the outside, it's starting to affect the underground of where you are, and you're starting to see the effects of obviously the other train, you're starting to see the effects of the ground falling out, and it's just not a good sign of Superman doing what he's doing outside and the Flash doing what he's doing outside, maybe even appearance from Batman. If I can dust him off, I don't know what they did with him after taking him down off of Arkham, but maybe he's somewhere, I guess. You might even be able to bring in Wonder Woman, and you all could be doing what's happening outside. I'm pretty sure I'm giving it away what's happening outside, but Pretty much that whole section would just be like, okay, Superman, we need you to get down the subway and help these people. They're the last people to get out. And then he would come down and help you and get you out and sort of do everything like that. So my whole idea on this is to, obviously, I'm going to have to move the main entrance to the Wizard of Oz. Now, I've always seen the main entrance to the Wizard of Oz being that back path. And that back path to me has always been like the big reveal. You would walk around that corner and see pretty much Oz, rather than coming up the way you do now and then just doing a hard left turn and then there's a building. So to me, that should be more of a side entrance, and then you would have 3, possibly 4 if we end up connecting the Wild West Falls area, ways to get into Oz, so that it's just a little bit less crowded of people not knowing how to go. So as I said, I can be a little bit more extravagant with my designs and stuff like that. I'm really trying to tame it in to truly, like, really focus on my 3 rules that I gave myself. So at the end of this video, I'll be putting the trailer that I not really made, it's like the little spoiler made for the shorts. But if you've already seen that, thank you so much for watching. As always, make sure you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Enjoy. G'day and welcome to Movie World in Planet Coaster, where over the next couple of episodes I've challenged myself to transform not only Superman Escape, but the Flash Speed Force as well. I'll be adding new effects and some secrets too, but I've set up some rules to help. Firstly, this is a refurbishment, so buildings and ride layouts will stay the same, with only small adjustments for ride smoothness. Second, I'll be keeping costs low, so I'll be reprofiling objects from around the park, mainly from the old DC Supervillains Unleashed area, but other parts as well, just so we're not demolishing all of this for no reason. And third, I'll be approaching this as if Movie World themselves asked me to retheme the area, so this can't be as over the top and crazy as I'd normally make it, but more designed like an initial concept art for them to walk around and try out the rides and get a real feel for the area, and hopefully offer me a job. So with that, episode 1 is now on YouTube, where I'll be breaking down the area and explaining how everything will work. I'll be uploading shorts to recap these builds, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a thing. But more importantly, make sure you have a great day.